So let's talk about this. So Z and I have played it, and this is probably the most enjoyable way to play this game right now. It has been new game. It has been multiplayer. Simple as that.
Agreed.
Going solo, doing buckets, which I'm having fun with buckets. Don't get me wrong. I love playing around with buckets because buckets has been fun and enjoying all the random BS that I can do with buckets and everything like that. It's fun, but it's so tedious. Like the game doesn't, like a lot of Souls like games don't hit those marks, and this definitely falls into that category of it doesn't hit certain marks. Definitely, like attack speeds feel weird, like they're a little bit faster than what they should be, but they are also slower than what they should be. Collision, great swords are weird. Like two-handed, they're overbearingly fast, but one-handed, they're overbearingly slow.
They're overbearingingly slow either way.
True. Well, I mean, even a greatsword in Souls games.
Compared to Souls games.
Well,
because I say this with the full knowledge that I ran a lot of great swords in the Souls game.
True. Great swords, though, in Souls games feel like they have the weight to them, so it doesn't feel like it's slow. It works right. They definitely, great swords move a little bit faster when you're wielding them two hands, using a character that's been using a great sword and two-handing it. But one-handed, they're not worth it. They're not worth the time or the effort to put into them. But the biggest thing is the collision. There are so many tight, small areas in this game that all of your weapons have these wide arch swings. I mean, I'll even show just one-handing this longsword. Look at the wide arch swings. There are so many areas in this game where that first swing, I'm doing this. And this is what you get a lot. Way more than anything. Is tinking against that wall. You're constantly hitting the wall, constantly hitting the wall, constantly hitting the wall. Not to mention the collision with your buddy. Yeah, in Souls games, you have this entire thing of, as you're playing with another person, they're almost a spirit-like person. So there's no collision. But
there's minor collision.
There's a
minor. I say minor because of the fact that if they're doing something and you hit them, it interrupts them.
Yeah, correct. There is a minor collision. This game, literally, because of how the connection between me and Z have been, definitely it can be an issue there. But there are times that we're trying to do things, we're thinking the same way, and because of how the collision works, I have literally died because the game's collision says that we are next to each other and I cannot roll because I am literally bumping into him. Like, the best way to put it, when I'm comparing a Souls-like game to a Souls game, yeah, they're never going to compare unless it's Lies of P. And that's the big thing. I can sit there and state, if I compare another Souls-like game to a Souls game, most of the time they're not going to compare to Souls games because Souls games are what define the genre. Except for Lies of P. Lies of P has been literally the best experience, and it's a solo experience. You don't get to play online with people, or you don't have PvP or anything like that. So those are two options that we're taking out. The solo aspect of it is so Souls-like that you could swear it was a From Software game. It feels and plays perfectly like a Souls game. Everything felt like you have a heavy weapon. You feel the weight. You know, shit, I'm not going to be able to, if I swing this, I'm not going to be able to parry the next hit if they don't get stunned. Oh, they didn't get stunned. I have to take this hit. This might kill me. This game, I do this, swing, and I hold. I practically have a I have defense instantly. There's no weight to that. Like, you don't feel the weight to it. Like, I swing and block, swing and block, swing and block. There's no weight to it. It doesn't feel like I'm like it's weighted or anything. Like, I'm in trouble if I swing wrong and there's a point. There are times though that the game messes you up and you're swing, and you should knock someone out like off balance with that third swing, and you don't, and then you go try and block and they instantly hit. So the game doesn't have the correct balancing like it's supposed to. Like 100%, I don't feel like that. Like there's anything correct on this game. And it's just playing through it. That's how it feels. It's not a bad game. I won't say this is a horrible game and that people shouldn't play it. This is a good game and should be played with a friend, 100%. Because I guarantee you, the solo playthroughs have been nightmarish. Like the Fife fight, how we one-shot that Z when I was on the Inferno character, it took me like 3 tries, and then I realized, oh shit, why am I trying to do what I was doing with Z? Let me just do stuff, get through the first instance of that and doing all the dodging, and then let me just die and go into Umbral, because then I can just target the Umbral being that I have to pull out of Umbral with the lantern. Let me just forego that entire thing. Yeah, if I die, I die. Whatever. I can do more damage to it when I can just target and throw a spell at it. You know, so if I die, it feels like a Souls game. If I die at that point, okay, I reset. Okay, cool. Let me just be an Umbral when I'm in that fight. Just makes that fight easier because I can just target this one thing. Yeah, I have ads, but if I kill it fast enough, the ads go away, and all I have to do is dodge AoEs. It didn't feel satisfying, you know. But in multiplayer, hey, we don't have to ever go to Umbral. We can pull and beat it up, get to this point, do the damage. Okay, take care of the ads, pull it, do the damage. That's all we're doing. Again, it doesn't feel rewarding though in the end. None of these fights felt rewarding. None of these fights felt like minus the one guy that's hunting us down, pretty much. He's the Light Reaper. He's the only one that kind of felt like rewarding, but none felt as rewarding as, we'll go with Dark Souls 3 because that's one we played through completion. The Nameless King. Yeah, fuck that guy. But when we beat him, it was like you're on cloud 9. You felt amazing. You felt invincible. That's a big thing of Souls games, is having that feel of accomplishment. Like, I beat this guy. People are like, this guy, he's a nightmare. You go and you beat him. You're like, oh my God, he was a nightmare, but I feel good about beating him. I feel completed.
I think the only reason that the Light Reaper felt even close to that was the fact that, yeah, we had multiple chances to fight him and we died 2 out of the 3 times we did fight him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just it. It's because we died fighting him before.
Yeah, and not to mention, we don't get the
only reason that it felt.
Well, yeah, and
at least for me, that is the only reason that it felt satisfying when we finally beat him.
Well, and the big thing too, I'll account to that, is it's not like he can go back and fight him again in those arenas. The first time is like tutorial. Okay, I lost. He's gone.
It's a meant to die death.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be overpowered for that.
Yeah. The second time,
which I get.
Yeah. The second time, we didn't know, and then we fought him. We did some damage, and then we died, and he wasn't there. So when you get to the third time, you want to beat him, and then technically what they're thinking is that third time you die to him. Okay. Then you get to the fourth time. The fourth time where you're supposed to fight him, that's when you beat him. Okay. I see that. I feel that. That's respectable. That gives the player that wanting of, okay, I died, and then you go back into the arena and he's back there again. You're like, cool. That's the entire thing of, hey, now I get to fight you and beat you, and I get that satisfying feeling. But all the other bosses don't feel that way. Like, they all feel like, they're cheap, they're annoying, I don't care. Just want you out of my way so I can progress. Like, none of them give you a weight to it. And I can even say that with like Elden Ring. You have certain bosses in Elden Ring that felt like that, but because of how Elden Ring was built and how you play Elden Ring, it makes sense because a lot of the bosses seem to be like reused assets because, oh yeah, you're fighting another one of these enemies. Cool. Well, I fought this enemy before, but he's got a couple of new abilities, but he's not like super challenging. It's just, I have to beat him. Cool. I respect that. But some of the boss fights that you get in Elden Ring, when you beat them, you feel accomplished. Melania, who is, Elden Ring's super boss that everyone talks about, that is the nightmare boss for a lot of people. When you beat her, you feel accomplished. It's like the Nameless King in Dark Souls 3. It's like any of the DLC bosses from Bloodborne. It's like oh god, what's their names in Dark Souls 1? The two-person fight, and I cannot remember their names.
Look at me.
But it's like that fight. Like, the Souls games have certain fights that you go through and you fight that boss and you die. And you go and fight them and you die. And you go and fight them and you die. And you keep doing this process, trying to figure out how you fight this person. And then when you beat them, it feels like an accomplishment. This game, it doesn't feel that way. At no point of time do I feel like there's an accomplishment for beating a boss. It doesn't feel good to beat the boss. It just feels like you just moved a somewhat big stone out of a trail because it was in your way and it was going to block other people. That's all you push out of the way and you're like, yeah, that would have been annoying for people to get around.
It's a Snorlax.
Yeah. I played my Poke Flute. The Snorlax is awake. I caught the Snorlax. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like you accomplished anything. It just feels like you kind of got past it. It's annoying. Like I enjoy the game. Again, playing it multiplayer has been enjoyable, and Verse, I know if you're still here, Verse, you even stated it. This is game, like, you played it, you only got through this playing it co-op. Going through it solo doesn't seem like a feasible thing. And playing it solo has not been extremely enjoyable. Yeah, there's more enemies when you play multiplayer, which Z and I have confirmed that. But still, even single player, there's still a ton of enemies. You go into Umbral in the wrong place, you're overwhelmed so quickly that it just doesn't feel fair and doesn't feel right. It doesn't. It doesn't feel enjoyable. It feels like difficult for the reason to be difficult.
It's like they took the Dark Souls community that said, we enjoy fighting the Nameless King, make him harder. Okay, we'll throw it on every single boss and say, screw everybody.
Yeah, no, I get that, because that feels like it. Like, every single boss feels like it's got something like the Nameless King can do. How many bosses did we fight in this game that could just teleport randomly? I can name, I can't name them, but I can count at least 4.
Pieta wasn't really a teleport.
No, The chick
Moved
after
fast.
Pieta.
Moved fast enough.
Yeah. The chick after Pieta. The
The sister that became a normal
normal mob. The Inferno chick.
Yep.
The ice thing.
The holy projection guy.
Oh yeah, the holy projection guy. Well, no, he can't teleport. But
He might as well be with his projections.
with his projections. Oh yeah, he was annoying.
Through with them.
But
followed through with them.
But actual teleports, you had at least 4 because we had Pieta, or not Pieta, but the sister, the flame chick from Karlath, the holy chick from...
I was going to say the laser beam lady.
Yep. And then the fucking spear shield chick. Because she could teleport. So there's at least 4. I think there's a 5th. But there's at least 4 that just teleport and they become normal enemies, which is annoying. The amount of enemies that are ranged that don't shoot once, they shoot twice or 3 times. Or in the snakes. The snakes shoot 3 times. The normal soldiers shoot twice, but the snakes also can mortar you.
The flame skull guy.
The flame skull guy who
that has a freaking machine gun.
I'm going to throw down nails on the ground. Okay, but they're in a way that you can't run through them and not hit one. You're going to hit one. And while you're running through, I'm going to machine gun you. And then I'm going to ignite my sword, and I'm going to do a 5-hit combo. That's a normal enemy. That's not a boss. That's a normal enemy that you fight at the beginning of the game, essentially.
Or he's going to just double machine gun you.
Double machine gun you and ignite you, and then you're going to drain all your health because you're on fire. It's going to burn. He does burn.
All your health and stamina.
Yeah. So, it feels like every single enemy had some annoying BS. At start, the enemies were normal. Felt like that. And then you got first skull guy, and then you're like, wow, that's kind of bullshit. The twin axe guys weren't an issue until the later part. Not even halfway through, a quarter way through the game when we got to Karlath, where they were flames.
Flaming axe guys that just popped out of nowhere. Yeah.
And then they would do the double jump double axe down and explosion. You're like, what kind of bullshit is this? None of the enemies felt like they were fair. If you died to them because you weren't paying attention or you weren't doing the right thing, it's on you. All these enemies start feeling like we're either going to come at you with such force, 5-6 enemies at a time, while you have an archer. Of those 5-6 enemies, you have an archer or 2, or at times 3 ranged people.
Let me pause you there. Archer damage.
Over the top?
Yes.
How much? Okay, here, I'll even go
Go get poked by an archer?
Well, let's look at that's just blocks. Let's look at my damage mitigation. 64 for my helm, 149 for my body, 48 for my arms, 143 for my legs. That's my physical damage mitigation. I guarantee you, I go walk up to an archer, they will do out of my... How much health do I have? Out of my 600, or my... Yeah, I have 611 physical. Out of my 650 health, I guarantee you, if I got poked by an archer that does no elemental damage, they would do at least 300 points of damage. Any archer that's non-elemental. Let's not forget that unless it's the normal soldiers, every other archer in this game does some sort of or elemental damage, whether it be fire, whether it be holy, whether it be frost, because they don't do wither, they do frost damage. And I guarantee you, I walk up, even at my level and everything, I go to the fife, I go to that one of those ice archers, I guarantee you they do almost 600 points of damage to me if I just take the hit. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of damage you take from range, and it goes back to this enemy thing of you have 1, 2, 3 range enemies and then a whole bunch of melees. You're trying to get past the melees to get to the range, and all it takes is 2 or 3 of those range to murder you. And it's like 2 shots, and then you get hit in the back from one of the melees. It doesn't, at no point in time does it feel like this game is set to be fair. And not in like the, well, it's a kind of bullshit fairness. No, it just doesn't feel fair at all. I mean, even that last boss fight, which wasn't even a boss fight, it's a gimme fight. It really is. As Verse said, you don't really need a shield. You don't. All my spells take forever to cast, and they have fucking bullshit fire under them. But yeah, I guarantee if I go in there with buckets, with him being melee and then uses an actual bow, I'll just fucking shoot them a couple of times and find a pillar, pop a ammo refill, and just keep shooting things unless they're invuln. So, that fight is a gimme. It's not like an actual boss fight. Like that choice of going into it. Like Bloodborne. Garm you choose to fight Garm or just choose to wake up from the dream. You choose to fight him, you have to fight him, and he's not an easy fight. Now, if you've done the umbilical cords, you choose to fight him, you beat him. You're like, okay, blah, blah. Then you have to deal with the moon presence, which is an entire different fucking fight. But if you die, guess what? You have to fight Garam, then the moon presence again. That's Souls. Liza P. Again, my game of the year, literally my game of the year right now. The last fight of Liza P, if you choose to do the final fight, was a fight. It pushed me and made me go, shit, what am I not doing right? Okay, I'm getting trapped in this corner. I'm doing no, I'm getting wrecked. I'm getting stuck. I'm not thinking about how I don't have time to think about it because I'm trying to anticipate the next move instead of stopping going, okay, I know if I'm at this range, he's going to do this. So instead of trying to find a pattern or trying to find something to go around, I wasn't thinking about that. When I did, it became a lot easier. At no point in time do you feel like that in this game. You honestly don't. I am going to actually go ahead and do a restart game at +0 because I'm sorry. I will not do this as a +1. The fact that the any time you play this game and you go into new game pluses, it removes all of it removes more graces or vestiges. I don't find that as fun. Really don't.